Welcome to Teachings from the Masters with Daryl Shaun Price.
Hi, welcome. I'm so grateful you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that's going to go pretty deep, but it's a concept that exists all over the world in so many different religious traditions and philosophies. It's a concept that I think can be best summed up by a small passage from the Bible, where Christ is talking to his followers and says, "Be like unto a little child, of such is the kingdom of heaven." So let's talk about what that means. So when you're a little child, everything is new, everything is exciting, everything is beautiful. There's just experiences. You have a bad experience, it feels bad. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. You have a good experience, it feels good. Ooh, I want to do more of that. We very much have our reality more internal than external. So along the way, what changes? What is it that starts to get us to shift from internal to external? It's our beliefs. Where do those beliefs come from? They come from the knowledge. They come from what you learn mentally, intellectually. They come from, oh, your parents have taught you this. Oh, the church has taught you this. Oh, society has taught you this. Oh, when you went to school, you learned this. You gained knowledge that got programmed into a belief that said, this is the way the world is. For you to be a powerful person that always manifests miracles in their life, you need to free yourself from the burden of knowledge. And I know you're already resisting. Well, no, I like how smart I am, and I like all the things I've learned, and I like all the knowledge I have. But the knowledge is what creates the beliefs that are the limits within which you allow yourself to manifest anything in life. So everything outside of you is a reflection. It is a reflection of your level of alignment. It is a reflection of who you are on the inside. But who you are on the inside is composed of a couple different pieces. So there's your spirit that is always vibrating at what is your happiest life right now. It is always there because it is the energy of creation itself, and it always flows the highest possible level. So it's there. It's happy. It's peaceful. It is fulfilled. It is enlightened. It is awakened. But it is also just energy. That energy gets interpreted by you in the physical form through your mind into thoughts and ideas. That's where your imagination comes into play. So when an energy comes in that has a certain frequency, your mind will take whatever imagery it can based on all the knowledge it has of what has happened, what is happening, what it has heard, etc., and go, okay, we're going to create an image of some sort, or a sensation, or a sound, but something where we've got to put some form to that energy. Oh, that energy feels like a flying unicorn that's jumping over a rainbow. Maybe. Oh, that energy feels like going on an amazing vacation with my family. Point is, the ideas are just the energy taking form. You've got your imagination at play. Then you've also got that piece where your mind is operating independently, whether there's energy that it's interpreting from your spirit or not. That is the inner dialogue. That's the inner dialogue, the thoughts you keep thinking over and over and over again that have become habit to you. That's where your beliefs come from. Oh, don't touch that, it's hot. If you touch that, you're going to get burnt. Oh, if you touch that, it's going to hurt. I'm not going to touch that. It will hurt. You now have that belief. I want to point something out. Your beliefs are not good. Your beliefs are not bad. They are just limits. They are the way you've chosen to decorate the house. If you are in a room full of plants that looks like a living jungle, you are not also in a room that is completely concrete and modern with lots of computer stuff everywhere as its decoration. Yes, I know you can combine some of those decorations, but the point being, you choose the room you live in. And you can change that state at any moment you want. That's just the current beliefs you're playing with. Every belief is limiting, though. Once you've chosen what you want to experience in reality through that belief, that's the limits within which you're operating. This is why, and every philosopher, every religious guru, every spiritual guide has taught this in some way. And this is why you want to free yourself from knowing. Because the more you know, the more you're limited. I want to use an example. I want to tell you about dandelions. Now, every one of you just had a reaction when I said the word dandelion. You either pictured one, or you thought, oh man, my yard is full of them, or you're like, oh, I remember blowing on the dandelion puffs when I was a kid and watching the seeds fly away, whatever it was. But dandelions in our society have had a very, very interesting evolution based on what we know. So, when you're a kid and you first see your first dandelion, it's a beautiful yellow flower. Or it's this amazing cotton puffball. And I'm sure most of us have had that experience of picking one up and blowing it and the seeds go everywhere. What a magical experience. That dandelion is a beautiful, magical flower. But wait, as you get older and you have a yard and your HOA says the yard has to look like this. Oh no, there's dandelions in the yard. It's a weed. It's now bad. Did the state of the dandelion change? No, it's exactly what it was. You as a little child saw beauty and wonder and awe and had an experience. Your knowledge that it's a weed made it a bad thing. And let's move forward. So people have been longing, or always longing to get back to that childlike state. Whether you realize it or not, you are. Because in that childlike state, there are no boundaries. It is an uncarved block that has no form yet. Therefore, it is limitless. Therefore, within that state, you can manifest miracles because you have no limits. So in society's longing to get back to this childlike state, there's a big movement now about, hey, dandelions aren't weeds. You should let them grow. Here's the funny part. We took a bunch of new knowledge to try to prove that. Well, the dandelion leaves are great in tea and they have these effects on you. And the dandelion petals, if you do this and use them medicinally, they have this. So they serve a purpose that will allow the brain to change its belief that they're just a bad weed, for those of you who have accepted the new knowledge, and say, well, now they're good and you should cultivate them. And you should use the dandelion leaf tea and the dandelion petals and the dandelion roots because they all have purposes for you. Again, the little child looking at the dandelion, the beautiful yellow flower, the white puffball, wasn't thinking of medicinal purposes, just having an experience, the beautiful magical flower. You see what I mean about how knowledge becomes that block, that limit, as you create that belief? So as a society, we created this big belief that dandelions are weeds. Got to get rid of them. Then as a society, we're shifting to, no, they're great and medicinal. We need to preserve them and we need to cultivate them and we need to use them. And all it started out as was a little yellow flower, beautiful white puffball that you could blow into the sky and make a wish. So for you to be the most powerful miracle manifester you can, which is limitless, by the way, stop knowing. Yeah. Take these two phrases and try them on. I don't know, and I don't need to. Well, how are you going to pay your bills next month? I don't know, and I don't need to. Now you've just opened up to a miracle financially. Well, how are you ever going to settle down and find somebody? I don't know, and I don't need to. Open up to a miracle to finding your companion. Well, how are you ever going to lose all that weight? I don't know, and I don't need to. Now you're open to the miracle. And this is something your brain will fight you on because it's knowledge, it's been trained, and you're in the habit of this is the way things are. These beliefs right now are the way things are. You have to work hard to get money. You have to do this type of diet and this much exercise to lose weight. You have to behave this way and do these things and contact people in this way and be out there in this manner to find somebody. And the reality is you don't have to do anything. You just know what you have to do, which has created that belief. And how many times has something happened in your life that was so unexpected? There's no way you could have known that would happen. How many times have you seen over and over again things hit that change everything? You're ready to stop struggling and start living in alignment. You need to free yourself from knowledge. You need to free yourself from the idea that you know how things work. You know what has worked and hasn't. You know what experiences you've had. You're aware of them. You don't even know how they fit into the bigger picture. And you can't. And you don't need to. I'm going to tell you one of the most difficult experiences I've had in my life and how this principle really applied. And I didn't get to see the results till many years later. So I was married for 11 years, and it was not a great experience. We were not emotionally compatible in any way. We did it out of obligation because the church I grew up in kind of pushed that way, etc. But after the divorce, I was really adamant about I'm staying right where my kids are. I'm going to be in their life. I would pick them up from schools. I would take them frequently. They would be at my house all the time. I kept getting this idea, and it felt like peace when I had the idea to move, to pack up and move thousands of miles away, which would limit how often I got to see my kids. Brain says, oh, you'd be a bad dad if you did that. You don't want to be a deadbeat father. You have to stay here and you have to be involved in every aspect of your kid's life or you won't have a good relationship with them. And that's very conventional knowledge. But this idea kept coming over and over again, and it just kept feeling like I need to move. Don't know why I need to move. I don't know. I don't want to know. And I like to tell you that that's what I did, is I just leaped with faith and that all worked out, but I didn't. I fought it and I struggled. And this was many years ago where I was, my mind came up with all the reasons why that's not a good idea. Well, you've got a great job here and it pays you well and you've got a good home and you're so close to the kids and what will others think of you? And, oh, well, look, your family might think you're just a deadbeat father, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything I knew kept me from following that inspired action. Here's the beautiful thing that happens when you don't follow an inspired action. Eventually, the universe clears everything out of the way so you have no choice but to take the step that's best for you. So, that wonderful job I had got taken away from me. All of a sudden, there was so much conflict with my kids and I didn't know what was going on and it was really frustrating. There was constant fights with my ex. Things were not comfortable there, and it became so uncomfortable to the point that it felt like the only option I had was to move. I did. And it was hard. There was so much attachment to, if I'm not right there by my kids, the belief that I was a bad father. I moved, and there were some difficulties. There were some experiences we had learning to have a relationship with each other from a distance, for me and my kids. Here's the miracle behind it all. Things I didn't know and never could have known. Because I was that close to my ex, and she wanted to hurt me so bad, she was using the kids to hurt me, which is what was causing the distance between me and my kids. So, what she would do, and I'll just give you one example, and I don't want to throw her under the bus or say she's a bad person. She was hurting, and the only thing she knew at that point was to try to hurt someone else. So one weekend, for example, when she knew I was out of town and would not be home, that wasn't my weekend with the kids, she came, dropped them off at my house, then came back an hour later and said, oh, I guess your dad doesn't really want to see you. She would play little games like that over and over again, kind of poison the water between me and my kids. Well, if I'm thousands of miles away, she can't do that. My kids, as they came to see me, now got a break from a situation they did not want to be in. versus it's just right there around the corner. They felt when they came to see me thousands of miles away, they had the respite and the sanctuary they needed. Figure out who they really are. My kids' relationship with me has been better than I could have ever imagined as adults because I made that move. Because they learned and I learned how to reach out to each other no matter where we are and always be there for each other. My son still lives with me. My daughters still reach out to and call me and are still asking for things and asking to be in my life and wanting to be part of what's going on. The quality of relationship we had wouldn't have happened had I stayed there. But how in the world would I have known that? My current beliefs would not have known that. So maybe there would have been a much easier path had I let go of knowing. I don't know. This is the inspired action. I don't know why it makes sense, and I don't want to know. I'm just following it. Maybe I wouldn't have gone through the financial struggle of losing the job and all the uncomfortableness and all the other things that happen. And maybe there would have been less of those hurtful games played. But what I do know is this. Me moving out there was one of the best things that ever happened for me and my kids' relationship in the long term. Sure, in the short term, there were some difficult experiences. You don't know where the miracles are coming from. You don't know the easiest path to your happiest life, or you'd automatically walk it. By you trying to know how it's going to work, you are slowing it down. Sure, you will be guided there. You will be guided to what's meant for you. You can't avoid it. It's already there. It's already created. You're not creating and attracting new things. The only thing you're doing is living in alignment to get rid of the resistances, to get rid of the struggle that isn't necessary. And when you do that, when you have the faith to jump in and say, I don't know, and I don't want to, then you're led on the easiest path to your happiest life. So that story is an example of a time when I was struggling because I didn't see the bigger picture and I wanted to know how it was going to work out. And I mean, had I had the entire plan laid out that said, hey, right now things are toxic and this isn't working and it's hurting your kids emotionally. And if you move thousands of miles away, the emotional healing will happen. They'll have the space they need. Everything will come together. Of course, I would have said, oh, okay, great, let's go. And there's no faith that creates the miracle. This isn't about you creating a specific circumstance. This isn't about you manifesting this money, this relationship, this health, or whatever thing it is. Those desires are just breadcrumbs to get you to pay attention to something that you can let go of struggle and receive. It doesn't matter what the thing is. But it's a wake-up call to a lifestyle shift. And I'll tell you, since that time, and you guys have heard some of my stories already, but since that time, I have shifted to a living in alignment lifestyle. So an inspired action comes, do this. Well, that makes no sense. I don't know how it makes sense, and I don't want to know, and I don't care. I'm going to do it because it feels like peace, because I'm in alignment. If an idea pops up and it feels like peace, I'm doing it. And yes, there is inner dialogue that wants to defend my current beliefs, but that's not what I listen to. I listen to the imagination and ideas that come that feel like peace and say, okay, this is what we're doing now. And shift that inner dialogue to match that. I don't go work on the outside. Like, oh, this is what we're doing now. Oh, we're going to move again across the nation, thousands of miles. We don't have a house. We don't really have any income, but we're doing it because it feels like the right thing to do. And this is something that happened years after that move with my kids. When my kids were adults, I felt like I really wanted to move back to South Texas. And I did. With a couple friends, with my son. It ended up all my kids moved back around me. And we found a place to live on the drive there with all our stuff packed in a truck. Big, huge moving truck. Roommate of mine was on the phone with realtors, found a place to live. We didn't even look at the place. We just said, yep, that feels right. We're going. And it was perfect for us. right where you could smell the sea air coming in from the coast, beautiful home. It was perfect for us. Oh, and then 2 days after we got there, once everything was unpacked and we were settled and calm and didn't have to worry about that, I had somebody call that I didn't expect, offered to buy a company I had started with the condition that I would work with them and receive a salary for continuing to work with them. I didn't go advertise for that. I didn't go try to sell my company. I did nothing. But the miracles happened because I was willing to let go of knowing anything. When you free yourself from knowing, you are like a little child. I'm just having this experience. Ooh, this one doesn't feel good. I'm not going to do that anymore. Ooh, this one feels really good. I'm going to do that one. Now, it's not a weed. It's not a medicinal plant. It's a magical yellow flower that you get to blow on and make a wish. And you can live a life in alignment that creates miracles constantly. We're going to talk more about that in future episodes. And if you want more help on how to live that life, go to DarylShaunPrice.com. Go look at the Power of You 2-week transformation. This is more than just a course. It is 2 weeks where I guide you personally on simple ways to live in alignment, be in a state where you are always manifesting miracles. Because there's nothing greater than the power of you. When you're in alignment, you will naturally create your happiest life. Okay, go like, subscribe, share. Go share this episode with somebody who is ready to stop struggling. See you next time.